Hey everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Snapchat. I'm joined today by a very special guest, someone who I've been looking forward to having on the podcast for the longest time, longtime supporter of the content, longtime content creator in Marvel Snap, and one of the funniest guys in the scene, Rez Snapper. Rez, my man, it is so good to have you on the podcast. Cozy is on assignment this week, and we got Rez stepping on up. How are you, my man?
I'm very, very well. Thank you very much for having me. This is honestly such an honor to be here. You guys have been a really big part of my life of enjoyment of enjoying Marvel Snap, like listening to you guys even on holiday and stuff. And it's very surreal to be here, but I'm very happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you as well. And, you're one of the guys that I think that I have thoroughly enjoyed the content you've been making. Not only is it super informative, I think your formats are very good. And if you guys are unfamiliar with Rez, I'm going to be leaving links everywhere, whether it's in the description, in the pinned comments. You're going to find it. You got to check them out. Dude, I think your content's fantastic, but you have that X factor that I think makes YouTubers great, where it's you have that entertainment factor. You're doing a big breakdown, then all of a sudden you cut, you're walking through the city and it's you're I forgot about this one thing. And you've done that so many times, right? And I think that's so funny to me, and it creates a lot of personality. And I think you ooze personality. And I think that is one of the major secret sauces on YouTube. And so I'm just excited to have you, buddy, because I think you're by far one of the most talented Snap creators out there. And I think that we got to pump this guy's subscriber number because he absolutely deserves it.
I don't know what to say. That is so kind of you to say all that. Thank you so much. And I actually want to say, genuinely, the personality side of things, you honestly inspired me to be more like myself on the channel. I started my channel to just when they announced Marvel Snap, basically, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get my foot in the door as soon as it launches. And then the beta didn't come to the UK, so I was like, so I actually cold turkeyed watching content, and because I just wanted to sort of learn the game and experience it when it launched in the UK. And so I started making some videos, but I was kind of hiding my personality quite a bit. And then I was watching you, discovered you and Coccia's content as well, and watching you guys and the Snapchat. And I was like, I wonder how much of my weird personality I can fit into these videos. And so I started teasing it a little bit. And then Drewberry, who used to do Snap or Pass, he stopped making content. And I was super cheeky, to be honest, because I had never really spoken to him before. Absolutely loved his video series. And straight away, when he announced he was leaving, I was like, someone has to take this over. This format and the visuals and everything like that, someone has to do this. And I was like, I'm just going to ask if he minds if I do it. And he was such a gentleman. He said that I could take over. And then, as I said, you've inspired me to sort of peel back the layers and start being more myself. So I have you to thank for that as well.
That's fantastic. I sincerely appreciate that. And it's funny you bring up Drewberry, fellow Canadian, by the way. Drewberry, a little more north than me. However, I remember that because on Drewberry's I'm leaving video, he actually mentioned that the Snapper Pass series is going to continue because Rez Snapper had reached out and said he'd like to continue it. Which is wild, right? It's so funny. Even in his kind of his closing video there, he did mention that you had reached out and you guys had conversed about it. It is a great format overall, and it's also those formats are difficult too. It's kind of like what we're doing here. Previewing things is so hard. It's so hard to preview things in a vacuum because sometimes when you get the card in your hand, you see a whole other side to it, right? It's so difficult. Actually, on that note, you obviously listen. You are, I think, our first friend from the UK. Do you want to give the crew and the fans here a little bit of a breakdown of who you are, where you're from? Because, there's a lot of people saying that accent doesn't sound American.
Yeah, that's right. So, I'm from the UK. I'm actually originally from a place called Bognor Regis, which is a real name of a place. And that's where I'm from. I live in a town called Aylesbury now, which is about an hour outside of London. My content creation journey started in 2006. That's when I started YouTube. Some channels that have long since been deleted due to some copyright strikes. But they were fun. But then my main success actually was from a channel called Food Review UK. And that was what really I started loving creating YouTube from that point. And it was such a crazy story, the way that channel. It's not that crazy, but I'll tell it anyway. So I was walking in the supermarket and I saw a Skittles milkshake on the shelf, and I was like, oh, that sounds really weird. I wonder if that's any good. So I grabbed the bottle, opened YouTube, searched Skittles Milkshake, no results. I was like, oh, there was results, but there wasn't like a review of this product. And I was like, that's weird. I was like, it's weird that the main food review channel in the UK hasn't reviewed it. So I searched Food Review UK, and I was like, and it was like no results again. I was like, there isn't a snack review channel in the UK. So I went home, made a logo, filmed a review, and then that was it. And so yeah, that channel got quite successful. Not many people watch it now, but I still enjoy making content on it. And yeah, I've just loved making videos since then. So Marvel Snap, I'd always wanted a digital Marvel card game. Like if you look a little bit around my room, you'll see a lot of Marvel stuff. Like I'm a huge Marvel fan, huge card game fan. So when it was announced, I was just like, oh, this is, yeah, I can't not make content for this because I'm so passionate about doing those things.
That's awesome. And I will say is that on your food review channel, which I'll link as well, you guys got to check it out. You reviewed chicken balls.
Yeah, it's so funny. I think I was in your stream the other day, right? And I was like, I'm gonna review them, but because I set up that channel in like 2013, there's like 5,000 videos or something. There is so many things that I've forgotten I'd done, and I had a look on there because I did actually do a Chinese takeaway series. I found the review, and I was like, oh, I've already done them. But yeah, chicken balls, totally a thing. Like they are totally real. In fact, one step further than that, in the UK, I would say they're probably the most popular item that people get from the Chinese takeaway. I don't know how similar your version is, but in the UK, they're basically chunks of chicken breast covered in a very thick batter, which means the batter towards the inside is very fluffy and almost like a pancake. And then the exterior is very, very crispy. And then you get a separate pot of sweet and sour sauce, which depending on the type of restaurant you're going to will either be like brown or even like fluorescent neon orange, usually like that.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly my experience as well. We get like the fluorescent like orange red ones, and they're all, like, my kids love chicken balls, man. And when I said that, people were like, bro, what's this guy talking about? And admittedly, as I mentioned last week, I actually had the privilege of having dinner with the development team from China, and they actually watched the podcast, and they're like, what were these chicken balls you guys were talking about? And I showed them a picture. They're like, yeah, that's not Chinese food. Like that, you guys made that up. Like that's not on us. But
honest, they're so good. They're brilliant.
Yeah. That is. But, dude, we got a lot to talk about today, and I want to tap into some of your knowledge, your previewing skills of cards, because we have a card that's coming out this week, and it is Bastion. Bastion is coming out this week. It is a 4/3 that reads, on reveal, add copies of your other cards here to your hand. Set their cost to 2 and their powers to 3. Rez, I'll give you the floor here. What's your general star rating here on Bastion? For everyone else, Cozy and I, in our preview, I gave Bastion a 3 to potentially a 3.5. Cozy came in at 4 stars. We do a 1 to 5 star rating here. So Rez, I'll put you on the floor here. What do you think about Bastion?
I think he is absolutely awesome. In fact, I think he's so good that I've been getting heat on my channel. People are saying that I'm coping and stuff. I think I gave him 5 stars. I love him. I think there's huge potential for him. I think the kinds of things that you can do with him, I don't think they're even that dissimilar from like Moira X, which obviously we'll get onto Moira X later, but I've been having a lot of fun with her as a spoiler preview for later. But yeah, and just the more I was thinking about it, all these kinds of cards were coming to mind that work well with him. Like I was thinking about ongoing stuff, maybe like an Ant-Man, or even like some anti-venom stuff. Like you play anti-venom on 4, you get your 0 costed card on 5, play that alongside whatever else you've played in the Bastion location, and then you're like double dipping on potentially a very powerful card. So there's that sort of stuff. Like discard might like him with, even if you again don't play him a little bit off curve, like a Dracula could be really strong. Bullseye, Victoria Hand, and just the more I was thinking, so many synergies. So I really like him.
That's fair. I mean, the superpower is probably making something that's like a 4 cost, like a 2 and a 3. Like it's wild how much versatility you can get. It's like in the case of Dracula, like you said, you play Dracula on turn 4, you Bastion turn 5, right? Now it's a 2 cost, and are you able to drop your hand? Like, is there an opportunity for you won't be able to MODOK at that point, but could you play the 2/3 with like a Corvus? Is that enough to clean up your hand and just hit Apocalypse or whatever if you've been discarding pretty consistently? We also have the Redshift now who's in it, so maybe you can start to target cards more effectively. You know, you're hitting things with Swordmaster, and you're hitting things with Redshift, you're hitting things with, you know, I mean, you got this opportunity to actually kind of chunk away at your hand to set up those types of plays, right? Could be potentially fascinating. Where I am seeing a lot of potential as well, which I think is the place where a lot of people are going to go with it, is going to be C3. Now, C3 has already seen a bit of a resurgence thanks to Omega Sentinel, who we'll talk about later. But Omega Sentinel added a big infusion of interest into C3. And Bastion, very naturally, and even on curve, can be played in that archetype, which is likely to be extremely beneficial for that archetype as a whole, because right now we see a ton of C2. So Rez, do you think that C3 could potentially see more play with the inclusion of Bastion?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's actually one of the main ones that I also didn't mention, but yeah, I really like the almost kind of insurance that it gives you as well, because often with C3, obviously you are playing your Cerebro on the final turn, often anyway, partly from avoiding it from being counterable, or you try and drop priority as much as possible, partly from just leaving that question open for your opponent as to whether you've even drawn it. But this, at least, it gives you the ability to double dip and that extra insurance if it does get disrupted. So I really like those elements, and also the fact that it then becomes a two cost card, and also gets its power set to 3 as well. So it's basically ticking all the boxes that you would want to do with Cerebro. So I think this could make Cerebro 3 go absolutely Negasonic. Not the card Negasonic, as in like it could get really good. But also Mega Sentinel has been brilliant for it this week as well. So yeah, Cerebro players are eating good.
I've felt like for the last little while, a major effort from the Marvel Snap team has been to try to make more archetypes viable. And I actually appreciate that. Like when I'm on the ladder, which honestly, you probably share the sentiment. I think everyone does. One of the most common comments I'm getting lately has been the grind towards Infinite. The grinding on the ladder has been far worse this season. They've definitely amped up the bots. Like there's no question about it. And even when I was looking at like untapped based stats pre-Infinite and everything, the stats are way down. Like way down compared to what they used to be. Like it was very regular that we would have like that first week just sorting by cube rate. You'd have multiple decks with like hundreds of games played in the like 1 and plus cube rates. This week there was only a single one, and the rest were like literally like 0.2 of a cube down lower than they were 2 months ago. And we even saw a little bit of that last month. And so as a result, I think that like what you're seeing is not only is the play more competitive and the grind is more intense, but if you're playing the same decks over and over again, like people are gonna get frustrated and sick of it. One of the things that I've noticed, although the grind in rank has been significantly more intense, what you're seeing is a more variety of decks. I like the fact that Redshift has made Agatha a legitimate deck, and now you're even seeing Agatha Hela variations, and that's great. Like, yeah, you can have an opinion about Hela, but what I'm trying to say is like that's a deck I'm seeing, and then I see a Surfer deck, then I see a Viv Vision Surfer deck, maybe a second time in a row, but then I see something else. I see some end of turn, which I mean is kind of cringe, but at the same time, at least I'm not seeing it every game. There is more diversity in these archetypes, and you can see a clear effort on Second Dinner's part to try to infuse archetypes that need help with more power. I mean, heck, Cerebro was a meme up until a couple months back, right? Like, let's be honest, the major changes they've made to Cerebro, they made him with 2 costs, now he's a 3 cost, now he's doing +3. And +3 has always been a superpower in Marvel Snap. But when you look at Bastion, I feel like it is trying to provide a massive tool. For me, 2 major archetypes to see more often. The first is going to be C3. We see C2, we don't see C3. And the other is, I think, Victoria Hand, who is seeing some testing right now. Honestly, Victoria Hand's not bad, and it's always been on the cusp of being great. But I guess, Rez, what I want to ask is, do you think Bastion could be a card and one of the missing pieces that the Victoria Hand shells have been looking for?
Oh, definitely. I think Victoria Hand is... I love Victoria Hand. She might even just be my favorite card in the game, because I've always been a shield player. I don't typically play like full-blown meta sort of decks. I usually play a bit off meta. I like doing janky stuff. I like doing weird stuff. So being a massive fan of shield decks, she was very much like the missing, or certainly at first she was a missing link for them. I think a traditional shield deck these days still doesn't quite feel powerful enough. You're spending a lot of time and resources actually getting out the card generators, and then it's not always the biggest payoff to have just those generated cards with Victoria Hand. But the types of decks that Victoria Hand is now able to fit into is brilliant. I love like the kind of like the decks that focus on the hood stuff and getting loads of demons. I've been having a lot of fun with Moira X this week and being able to duplicate her, and even just with Mirage has even come back into the meta as well, which is really cool to see, because I loved her when she came out as well. So yeah, and I really love that it seems like cards are getting we're getting cards with very specific, almost niche text now. Like Redshift is quite a niche card in a way, because he's discarding a card and then generating one as well, so it can easily fit into sort of like almost like a hybrid shield discard deck as well, which kind of was almost there with a helicarrier sort of style. So yeah, I really like the way that card design has gone, and that it is getting more niche, more specific, which ultimately leads to more archetypes being able to compete.
That's true, and that's likely probably indicative of the fact they've released so many cards in the game now. And if you're going to continue to release 11 cards a season or whatever, which is a topic for this podcast later on, eventually, like, there's only so many catch-all cards. Like, there's only so many 2/3s that do +1s, right? Like, there's only so much design space for stuff like that. So I think that part of it is you have to get more niche, right? Marvel Snap's not the type of game that can do reprints the way Magic the Gathering does. Like, how many Soul Rings does a Magic the Gathering player have, right? Like, you don't really do that here. Each card has to stand on its own, while at the same time trying to compete in a 12-card shell. So that's one of the design challenges we have. Like, there's cards that legit see no play. Like, there are cards that I can mention to you that you might forget exist in Marvel Snap, just because they're not able to make a 12-card list. So yeah, they niche down, and with that being said, those niches become like increasingly powerful, because like Redshift, for instance, like Redshift and Agatha was such a key synergy that it elevated that archetype well beyond whatever it was capable of. And it's kind of crazy to think about that, because you could release a card and resurrect an entire archetype with that card. A good example of this too was Surtur. You had Surtur, it was way too powerful, like laughably launched. Like, I have no idea why it launched the way it did. And then you had Starbrand come out to try to give a little bit of extra love to that. And Starbrand was fine, but it still didn't do enough for that archetype. And it took reworking Sauron being reworked, and all of a sudden Starbrand was like a sought after card because Surtur started popping the hell off, right? So it's pretty interesting to see how like infusions of power can happen with cards like this. It's also worth noting, back to Bastion, you can copy things like Victoria. You can also copy things like Quinjet, right?
Mm-hmm. Quinjet's so good.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so you're able to do a lot of stuff and put down a lot of power fast. And it makes me wonder, like, I tried to do some Mad Thinker stuff. Mad Thinker feels like a terrible card. I want to throw something out here. Anybody that's playing Mad Thinker, first of all, if you have a deck that works, I'd like to see it. Comment it down below. But I would like to see perhaps if a good buff to Mad Thinker, because I actually tried, especially with Moira X. This card was awful. And I think that if it gained the power while it was in your hand, like if it was like in play or in hand, kind of like a Red Hulk or something, it would make more sense. If you're seeing it get the +2 power while you're holding it in your hand, even with Moira X type stuff, would be cool. But I think the Bastion could do really well for that archetype. So you're coming in at 5 stars, eh? That's high.
Yeah,
I'm like 3.5.
Yeah, I think I like it. Like I say, I'm borderline getting bullied by my viewers on it. I feel like I've overcooked a bit, but hey, I'm a man of fault.
Listen, sometimes the most fun is believing in something when other people don't believe, and then all of a sudden that card pops off, and who's the genius? You're the genius. You're the Rez Snapper. Called it first. That Bastion was going to be insane. We're going to cut to the new cards that came out this past week, do a quick review of them there. And I think there's some really important stuff we got to talk about, because in their own right, I think all 3 cards have been very fascinating. Let's start with Viv Vision. Viv Vision is the 3/2 that reads at the start of each turn, give all cards in your hand +1 power if you're winning here. Otherwise, move this to another location. Rez, I'll give it to you. What has your experience been with Viv Vision? For context, Cozy and I both came in as this card being our 5-star of the month, and I'll give you my thoughts on our ratings after I give you the floor here.
Yeah, I think that was a very fair decision. I think she is very, very good. Just the ability alone to be able to give all cards in your hand +1 power multiple times can be in the right deck. Like when you see that Shore tick up, or you know it hits that Brood, and you know that's basically +3. Feels really powerful. Really like the ability that she will move and try and seek out a different location if she can't win at the one she's at. That's really cool. And yeah, again, it's kind of a niche card because it's like mixing like some potential move stuff. So I've played decks with like Hydra Stomper and the synergy of Silk and Betrok the Zilipa.
Betrok the Leaper, yes.
Yeah. I love that, like, because he'll kind of follow her, which reinforces that you're going to win that location. So that feels really good. And yeah, again, I'm just like a very copy player. Like, I'll try and cope with like a weird auto move deck with like Topaz and stuff in. So yeah, I've really enjoyed playing her. And actually, I've been playing Surfer more than I ever have before because of this card. So yeah, I think she's really, really good.
This card is definitely slotted into Surfer. It does not appear to be working as well in some of the buff decks as I expected it to be honest with you. It's been a very clean card for Surfer. Now, on aggregate, according to Untapped, from ranks 70 to 100 right now, we're looking at a win rate of 54.3%, positive cube rate, and a popularity of 16%. Those are all good numbers, but they're not phenomenal numbers. Especially, well, it's tricky too, because as I mentioned prior, the bots are way more ruthless than they used to be. We still have some throw bots here and there, but I think the bots are really bringing in the numbers quite a bit, because we used to have season pass cards running 58% win rates, 59% win rates in that first week. And it wasn't until we got the purely infinite stats that we had a better indication of how they were playing on aggregate. Now you're looking at the Viv Vision running a 54% win rate, bot stats included, but like the card has been good and it's had pop-off potential, but it has not seemed nearly as powerful as I expected it to. To me, I feel like I was off at 5 stars. It feels like a solid 4-star card, don't get me wrong, but 5 stars often reserved for those cards that really knock it out of the park. And I was expecting bigger things. It was maybe prudent of them to go from a 3-3 to a 3-2, but at the same time, I wonder if they, I don't want to say they buff this card, because it does, I don't think it needs a buff, but I wonder how meta relevant it's going to remain. Because what you're banking on right now, you're banking on Surfer decks that as a whole have been very good. Surfer decks that that they've been receiving infusions of power. Specifically with, like, you have the Human Torch First Steps, which is a great Silver Surfer card that can get well over 10 power easily. And then you have Viv Vision pumping Sebastian Shaw, you're pumping Brood, you're pumping Captain Carter. Like, everything in that deck wants it. However, in my experimentation with the buff decks, like with you when you have the Mr. Sinisters and you have Broods, like that stuff works, but she doesn't quite seem to be as good there. So I'd be interested in your thoughts. Do you think that she is going to strictly find a home in Surfer, or do you think that as the season goes on, she's going to continue being tested in other archetypes and can perhaps exceed the Silver Surfer stats somewhere else?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Definitely Silver Surfer is the main home for her, and I also have tried her in like a more traditional buff deck, and I think that the thing that kind of let her down a little bit there was just her raw power being 2. It's kind of low tempo, and you're already in when you are playing cards like Fastos, and if you are playing a Koye, which I do because I cope a lot, you kind of, you need more than that. So she doesn't feel like she's adding that much. You're not consistently winning as easily as you are in Silver Surfer, which can sort of like get the wheels in motion a bit more quickly and start running away with cards, like especially with like Red Guardian and stuff. So yeah, I think she definitely feels surprisingly not broken for a season pass card. You usually, like, I'm surprised they knocked a piece of power, 1 point of power off of her before she launched. So yeah, but I do still think she's really good, and so any card that is as good as this, that even if you're not necessarily getting a huge synergistic benefit from her in different decks, I think she might still be able to be good, just because like getting +1 to all cards in your hand is generically good, especially in a deck where you might be playing all of those cards out, so you're extracting all of that value from her. So like maybe like something like a hand dump deck, something like that. Maybe there's an opportunity for her there.
Yeah, like basically the idea of like Sebastian Shaw double dipping on that effect, Brood triple dipping on the effect, right? It definitely goes off, and it feels like power creep on Nakia for the most part, right?
Oh, just rip.
Yeah, I know.
Light a
It's
candle.
kind of crazy. One thing I'll say, though, is to me, it just felt like the movement side of Viv Vision has felt nearly irrelevant. Like, I have not felt that in my time with Viv Vision, which is pretty extensive thus far. It hasn't felt like that move mechanic has really served much purpose for me. Yes, you can move to another location and perhaps contest that and try to get the additional power. It's a nice little addition to the card, but I'm not convinced it adds power to the card. You mentioned Batroc, but like I don't think this actually plays in a move shell, right? You can try to do some cute stuff with it, but I doubt it'll ever be the optimal way to do it. And so I've had games where, for instance, like she will move into a Altar of Death or something. That's pretty cool because then they can't really contest there effectively. And there are going to be locations where you can take advantage of that. But I don't see the movement as a power generating opportunity, right? Which I think is one of the challenges with Viv Vision, because half of her text doesn't seem like it's actually contributing to her power right now. So we'll have to see if new cards change that or whatever. So yeah, I would say that my 5-star rating is probably on the high mark. Given that, what do you feel like you would star this, having the chance to play it and retrospectively? Like, what would you give it star wise?
I think she's a solid. She's a solid saw. A solid saw. No, she's a solid 4. She even if her main deck is only going to be Surfer for the time being, I think she's still really, really good, good enough in that to be a 4-star card. And I think she is broad enough that there is a future for her. Maybe it just hasn't been figured out yet.
That's absolutely fair. And that'll take us to the next card here, which is going to be Sparky. Sparky the doggo. And a couple things. First of all, I've noticed a lot of Sparky variants, and I feel like a lot of people playing Sparky did buy the Super Premium Season Pass, which unlocked the base card. So, that is one avenue. It was added to the Snap Packs as well, but as a Series 5, not a Series 4. So that was something Cozy and I discussed last week. So Sparky, Cozy and I came in at 4 stars. He came in at 3.5. And I got to tell you, do you know what Sparky taught me this week? I just don't want to play move. Like, I don't want to sound like a clown, but like, I just don't want to play move. Like, I was testing Sparky and I played a couple rounds with him and stuff like that. I'm like, honestly, I don't want to play this. Like, I'd rather play Omega Sentinel. Like, it's just one of those things, right? Like, statistically, it's running a 53.4% win rate, but only a 3% popularity according to untap-based statistics. Now, I think that win rate is going to be lower than expected because people that like get the card and want to test it, they're going to play move suboptimally. Like, it's just going to be one of those things where people aren't playing move to the greatest efficiency. And then the people that really do play move, they're the ones that get the Human Torches to 300 power and stuff like that. Like, they're going to figure that stuff out, right? But for me, Sparky, although I think this card is likely a good card and a legitimate inclusion in move decks, it's just not for me. It's just not for me. So I'd be curious about your thoughts on Sparky, your thoughts on the Super Premium Season Pass, its change that they made, and just overall, like, are you a move aficionado?
So, first of all, yeah, I really like what they've done with the Super Premium Pass and in that making it a Series 5. Well, I guess a Series 5. I don't really mind about being a Series 5 too much. Maybe it increases the amount of Series 5, which I maybe like less. But I at least like that they now give you a variant and thus it unlocks the base card as well. So that's cool. The card itself, this is definitely the card from all the injection that we had at the start of the season. This is the card that I've played the least. I played it like a handful of times. And I pretty much agree with you. Like, it's just move, man. It's just, I generally don't want to spend 10 hours figuring out my turn. And that's what move makes you do. And that's really good for the players who are like a super high level and want to do all those complicated calculations and figure it out. And that can definitely be fun. But yeah, it's too much for me. One thing that I do think he's strong though. I do think he's strong. And I think the stuff that you can do with Human Torch is ridiculous. And that works really well. And just in general, we always see that any +3 is really good. I think the interesting element is that it's a card that has to. You're targeting a card that has moved, which is interesting because in games where I have played it, I'm almost playing him down early and not even having moved things. I've also run into problems with Batrok the Lipa, with him, where like Batrok is kind of stealing. I'm moving something, and then Batrok is like catapulting over and then stealing that power that Sparky's given. I'm like, oh, I kind of hope that was going to the Human Torch. So yeah, there's that, and I don't really like. I don't like the one power on a body. Like that's something that's staying blocking it. Like in Move, you want room, and this is a one power that's blocking one space. I don't like that element of him either. So yeah, I do think he's good, but he's not for me.
Yeah, so basically we kind of agree there. Now, star rating wise, like what would you rate it from 1 to 5 star rating?
I think I'd probably go 3. I'm sure that Move players would probably give it higher, but I would go 3.
How would you compare this card, Sparky, to Fantastica on release, Silver Surfer First Steps on release, and Sparky? How would you rank those 3?
I would go Fantastica, Sparky, and there's Silver Surfer on release. However, Silver Surfer First Steps is moving up my rankings. Now she's a 3-5 as well. I think that's really significant, and I've been having a hell of a lot of fun with her. Doing like I Am Patriot, and I have been playing her in the Surfer deck actually, like getting down an early Surfer to like duplicate that. So, sorry, a Silver Surfer, Norin Rad, whatever his name is. Hang on, what's his name?
Puzzle the encyclopedia.
Doug Jones. That's it. No.
Did you actually pull directly to the page? How did you manage to do that so fast?
Do you know what? I didn't, but actually in my Bastion video, when I was... In fact, it wasn't even on video, so I've got no proof of this. I could just be lying. Actually, I will just lie. I'll say it happens every time. Every single time I do that, I get the right page without fail. No.
Really?
When I was preparing it for the Bastion video, I did get it to the right page, and I thought, wow, I've got to do the lotto today. Yeah. I can't remember what we're talking about. Sorry.
We were talking about Sparky. But yeah, Sparky, his win rate's kind of middling right now. You are seeing some decks finding success with him. Obviously, Move deck. So if it's not Move, you don't want to play Move. This is largely probably a card that you can skip with confidence. A little unfortunate they brought it to a Series 5. Would have liked to see that a remain Series 4, but still enter the snap packs. But I don't do the finances at second dinner. I think that much is to be said. The next card we'll discuss here.
Mustache to
yeah, exactly. The next card we'll discuss here is going to be Moira X. Now, okay, you look like you want to talk Moira X here. Now, what I will say is that Cozy and I were skeptical, and I'm so happy when I'm wrong. I came in, I started at 2 stars, and then I ended up at 3 stars. Cozy agreed. Here's the thing. I think I love this card. Not just do I think it's a good card. It's running a 55% win rate, 6% popularity right now, according to Untapped. But this card is an absolute showcase of design. And I think whoever at Second Dinner, A, thought of this card, B, designed the card and its animations, and the team that did, they need kudos, because this card is by far one of the best designs they've done in a long time. Just the way it comes up, the effect that it has, the effect in the hand. You could tell this was a very high effort release, and I certainly appreciate that. So kudos to the dev team for legitimately making a card that's not only incredibly fun to play, but has an incredibly unique design as a whole. They knocked this one out of the park.
Yeah, you might need to get that censor bleep ready, because I'm about to drop one of the most explosive words you've ever heard. I think she's bloody fantastic. No, I think she was a massive surprise to me as well. I thought she was going to be good, but I thought she was going to be more like one of the cute cards. Like, oh yeah, it's cool that you can do fun stuff with her. I think I gave her 3 stars in my Snapple Pass video. Absolutely biggest surprise out of all of these cards that came out. Like you said, oh my god, the animation is incredible. The way those cards float around her, amazing. And just what you can do with her. The fact that she's worked and found success in proper, just normal destroy, brilliant. But I've been sticking her at anything, to be honest. So I've been doing. I Actually, shout out to Harry Perry Snap. If I don't know if a guest could even shout out another channel. Actually, this is uncouth, this is unseemly, and this is unbecoming of me. But Harry Perry Snap, he actually did a video about a deck that I posted a short about, which is like Dakin. I dressed up as him. I should know how to pronounce his name. But Dakin, Frigga, it's got like Nico Minori. So you've got basically like 3 ways to copy Dakin. You've also got Victoria Hand. So and like Venom and Carnage and stuff. So you can do things like it's also got Modok in as well. Just as like if you do get multiple Duckins cooking, you do literally have just the Modok line that you can follow. But if you don't, and you've maybe got 1 or 2 Duckin, you can play the Mirror Master Shard out, which gets +2 from a hand which you might already have out, and then Venom that, convert that power, and so it does all stuff like that. It's got Prodigy in as well, which is you, of course. And so Prodigy can copy Darken, and whilst he's not Darken, so he doesn't get doubled in power, he does at least generate a shard, and I think that's led to me having some 8-cube wins, because I had this one game where I think my opponent took a lot of time on the final turn, then they snapped me back, and I was like, I think they've miscounted and missed a shard, and then their turn was crazy as well. They were doing like Nimrod stuff, but I outpaced them by like 1 double. And yeah, I've been doing another deck which has got like more traditional shield stuff. I freaking love her.
All right, Rez, you just brought up Prodigy, and that's hilarious. Do you guys want to see what Rez sent me? Just out of the blue, I'm minding my own business. Prodigy release is happening, and this comes into my inbox. Guys, I'm not making this up. This is what Rez Snapper is doing on his spare time.
I can't even tell you how long this took. Even like, because like you had like the lights in your background, like, which I think perfectly matched like the energy and the power colors, but then they also weren't strong enough. So I like created like a couple of different layers of you, painted you orange, and then like made sure you were like had some like highlights from that side, did the blue. I had to extend your glasses because the glasses are properly shaped, which meant that I had to do the background. Yeah, and I was like, well, I've started, so I'm gonna finish.
So Rez Snapper, totally, while everyone else is making content, grinding new videos for Prodigy, spends 12 hours on Photoshop just so he can send this to me. Not even like send it publicly, just to me. Just be like, yo, look what I did for no reason.
I have used it in a couple of videos. Like I think I put it on like a random deck, like not referenced it, and then had comments going like, wait a minute, 13 minutes in, was that Alex?
Oh, I got to do that next time Prodigy's in a deck. You guys got to keep your eyes open. I'm going to sneak this bad boy into it for sure. Anyways, I think that's so funny, dude. I had to show that. And honestly, this goes to showcase just how good you are at Photoshop as well, because it's not easy to produce something like that. But yeah, anyways, I don't remember what we were talking about. Moira X. We should go back to Moira here. I love this card. I think it's phenomenal. For me, this is an absolute get card. And I think that it's beneficial too, because if you're relatively new to Snap, and you have a low collection level, you can make such an inexpensive version of Destroy where like X23 somehow is still Series 4. And I guess you are often using like Nico Minoru, but if you're going to spend any money in the game and like splurge on a Series 5, like Nico is like one of the safest choices you can make. Like Nico is such a badass card. Like you can, even if you're like 3,000 collection level, if you're going to go like, I want a Series 5 card, like I think Moira is one of those cards that you could very easily get and then carry in a Destroy shell, and it's like all gold backed Destroy cards. Like you can just play Destroy until you block out every single day with Moira, and she is so fun in Destroy because she can copy like deaths and she can get multiple Venoms, and like it's just so good. It's I don't know, man. I love this card so much. I don't even care if it's performing well. I had so much fun playing this card that I just can't help but recommend it.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it's kind of like almost like you said, though, it's the fun element as well. Like it's an even more fun version of Destroy because kind of every game is a little bit different. Stacking those Venoms as well. Like I had a game with, I think it was cloning Vats with, I had like Moira and Venom. So by the end of the game, I just had my only cards out was a Venom in each location, just a absolutely massive Venom, and I was just like, this is too fun. She is insanely fun.
Yeah. And one thing I will say is I tried her in Dormammu, and I found it frustrating. And I almost wish this text had read, when this is destroyed, get a copy of the characters in your opening hand. Because getting the additional Dormammu skills, it stuffed your hand and it just messed everything up. And I think that Dormammu has always been close to being a relatively good way to play Destroy. Like, I don't think it's that far off. Like, it's not the best way to play Destroy, but it's not that far off. And Moira X could have been the infusion of power Dormammu needed. And it just isn't that, because you're occupying way too much hand. You're not drawing cards. I even tried Mad Thinker in a Dormammu deck with Moira. So I'm like, my hand's full anyway, but that stupid piece of crap just sucks way too bad. Couldn't even play it there. So that's just one thing I want to say. But overall, Moira X, what an absolute beauty card. I love it. Chef's kiss, I agree. Absolutely. And that's going to bring us to our next card, which is Omega Sentinel. Omega Sentinel, currently, according to Untapped, running a 52.3% win rate and a very low popularity of 2.3. It's not being played much, and I got to tell you, I think people are sleeping on this card. I actually really like this card too. I like Moira X better. I think Moira X is a better card. However, I think that if you believe that the 4/3 Omega Sentinel is not a good card, I think that you are incorrect. This is a very strong card. Its ability impacts the entire board, can be used in a way where like you can stack your activate with like other forms of like toxic or affliction to try to like target specific cards, because you can be like, okay, well, I don't need this, I don't need their fallen one to go down too much, and you can play something like a U.S. agent there, drop the fallen one right down, then activate the Sentinel and hit a different location. You could kind of control where she goes to some extent, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I have really enjoyed my play with this card. It's a 4/3, and others can say, well, why would you just -7 a card? Well, you can punch it out with Shang-Chi. That's fair, but this applies to the entire board. Shang-Chi can whiff. Shang-Chi is susceptible to initiative, and this card just doesn't really care that much about that stuff. I think Omega Sentinel's fantastic. I think it's being slept on, and I think it's an excellent Series 4 release.
Yep, I completely agree. In fact, the only reason I've not played her that much, I have played her more than Sparky. The only reason that I have played her so little is because I'm just literally having too much fun with Moira X. But I think Omega Sentinel is absolutely fascinating as well. I think there's a hidden benefit to her that people are possibly underestimating, in that if me as a player, if I see my opponent play Omega Sentinel, that's making my head tumble in an absolute fizz, because I'm like, okay, what do I actually do? The fact that she doesn't necessarily hit the same location that she's at, it just makes the calculations for your opponents so difficult and makes them spend more time, and that means they might make mistakes. And then it's the fact that all of her power is in the activate ability. She's just a 3 power, which is good for Cerebro, another Cerebro card. But also gives her the opportunity to be manipulated with transform cards. So Cersei or Merlin. So I think that element is really interesting to her as well. And I think she's going to be crazy when Jocasta comes, or Jocasta, however she comes. That's going to be absolutely nuts, because I know that we're talking about future. We're literally talking about 2 or 3 weeks time now, but I have to mention it because you pop her off with Jocasta hitting their currently highest power card, and then when you trigger her again, that is probably going to be a completely different card. So you're attacking potentially multiple locations. I think she's so interesting and so good. Yeah,
I was just going to say the same thing. I believe it's Jocasta. I said Jocasta last week.
You did. That's what set me off. I was like,
man, to say that engaged the comment section would be an understatement. If you're a YouTuber and you like to engage the comment section, just say people's names wrong, and you'll be constantly crying. Everyone was super cool about it, but yeah, it apparently is Jocasta, and apparently it is also a very common mythology name that I should have been aware of, which I was not. So,
no, it's a Marvel character. Marvel character first. I don't care what any historians say. They're wrong.
That's right. Just like the Eternals, I'm like, bro, I feel like I've seen all these guys before somewhere, right? I'm like, Thena, I'm like, aren't you in oh man, I can't remember, what's it called, from Supergiant, that amazing game where you go, it's called Hades. I was gonna say you're Hades' son. It's Hades. And Hades is such a fantastic game. Damn, it's such a good game. Don't even get me started on Silksong. I didn't even play the original Hollow Knight, and I've been playing Silksong, and I was like, okay, I gotta see what all the fuss is about. Okay, I understand the fuss. This is such
Oh,
a
really?
beautifully well-crafted game. So, yeah, I'm only a couple hours into Silk Song. I haven't had much time, but that game seems incredible. I might have to post a video about something like that in the future. I don't know. I play so many games.
Yeah,
I'd
I'd watch that.
Now, admittedly, let's talk about Awesome Andy here, who I was deeming Asshat Andy. Admittedly, I've not played him. This is the one card that I just didn't have enough time to play. So, Rez, if you've had opportunities to play Awesome Andy, let me know. But I can tell you that no one cares about this card. It is running a 51% win rate at a 1% popularity. No one gives a hoot about Awesome Andy. I was thinking about putting him in like a Clea deck or something like that. But ultimately, I ran out of time. There's so many cards being released in this first week. And I only have so much time in the day. I didn't get around to playing Awesome Andy, especially when I'm having so much fun with Moira, so much fun with Omega Sentinel. Just screw Awesome Andy. I didn't play him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Poor Andy, but also, I mean, look at him. We can't respect anyone with a chalkboard and piece of chalk in their hand, right?
No, we can't. Anybody holding chalk, like the Prodigy, can't be respected.
You can't respect those kinds of people. No, I actually like Awesome Andy because I really, really, really like the Atlantis style deck. I love them so much I can't remember what they're called. Like Atlantis style decks with Namora and stuff. I really love that, and I love Frankie Ray Nova, who came out recently. Absolutely sick card. I put my fire border on her, and you did the video on her, right?
Yeah, on the main Snap channel, I did. Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, she's awesome. And so yeah, I've slotted Awesome Andy in there. Played a little bit with it. And he definitely, like, certainly doesn't feel bad. He certainly doesn't feel bad. The thing that I really like about him, because he's like vaguely similar to like Ironheart, which I play in those decks. I like doing like the Odin version, and I like Kahori stuff in there. In fact, with the Kahori stuff, I have a little flash of some kooky stuff in there. So I do like Snow Guard to like refill your hand for the Kahori stuff. And also like Agent Coulson as well, just as another way to fill your hand for that and to give you a bit of unpredictability. But the crucial thing about Awesome Andy is that he does give you some reliability that you don't necessarily get from Ironheart. Like, you know where the power is going, and you're going to ideally put one card in each of those other locations so that Awesome Andy specifically targets them. That is the best thing about him. That feels really good, that element of him. That being said, we've just had Herbie, we've just had Frankie Ray Nova, so the two cost spot in those like Namora style decks is already pretty stacked. So he definitely he kind of feels redundant, because I like playing Frankie Ray and Herbie in those decks probably more than Awesome Andy. And ultimately, if he doesn't work in those decks, there's less opportunity for him, I think. So he's fine though. I don't think he's bad.
For me, I mean, Awesome Andy is an example of a card that just didn't have to get released. Like, that's kind of what I see. Like, this card was so unnecessary this season. And not only do I think it's the weakest card of the season, like, I don't think it's even that good. I'm not, like, listen, I've coped with Namora decks, and that's exactly where I went when I was playing Frankie Ray Nova, right? And, yeah, Awesome Andy, I just don't feel it. Like, I just don't see it. I don't feel it. Yeah, Asshat Andy will remain an asshat, because I just think that this card is not good enough. And if it finds itself in a deck, then that's cool. Like, with that being said, I don't think people have tested it yet. Like, we haven't seen enough cooking with it. 1% play rate, the win rate means nothing. At 1%, like nothing really matters. But you are seeing 1% bot inflated at a 51% win rate. If they want to buff this card, they will, right? They can. And even if just to kind of generate some interest in it. If it's like a 2/2, theoretically, it is putting some legit stats on the board. It is an activate, and in this case, I don't know if activating is that much of a superpower. Because sometimes activate can allow you to, like, you know, for instance, Sparky's activate's a superpower because you can create a stack where it creates an effect where you have like this chain happening. Awesome Andy doesn't really chain anything, right? It doesn't really need to be an activate. So anyways, that's just my take on Awesome Andy. But again, I've not played the card, so that is just my opinion on it. And my friend, what that's going to do, it's going to take us to our next conversation, which, just like with Awesome Andy, where I suggested that perhaps this card didn't need to be released, one of the things that I think is frustrating people the most about Marvel Snap is the release cadence of the cards. We're seeing upwards of 11 cards being released per season. We do have one being released in the form of the game mode, which is fine. And it looks as though, especially based on the last high voltage and stuff, that they've kind of eased off of the requirements of the game mode slightly, especially in comparison to the Kid Omega fiasco, which was literally one of the worst possible decisions they could have ever made and legit sent people en masse out the door of Marvel Snap. And we have the stats to prove that. Rez, I have to ask you, is Marvel Snap releasing too many cards?
So, I am someone who makes in-depth analysis videos for every new card that comes to the game. So, when they used to release 5 or I think it was like 6 on a 5-week month, I think we'd get 6 cards. That was like, it was pretty doable. Like, it is quite a lot of work to make the kinds of videos that I make. There's a lot of like research and theory crafting and creating graphics and stuff. And then I'm this stupid idiot who makes more work for myself. So I do stupid memes where I'm like, I think I've got one. I can't remember if it's gone up yet, but there's spoilers for anyone who watches my videos. But I've made a joke soon where I'm sponsored by Pringles. I'm not just for lawyers. I'm not sponsored by Pringles, but I do stuff like that, which creates more work for me because I make more graphics, but that's not their fault, that's my fault. But going from 5 or 6 cards a season to 10, 11, 12, hang on, yeah, there was like 11, there was 11 cards this season. It's basically unmanageable for the kind of content that I make. Like, I have a full-time job as well, so I'm doing it like before work and in lunch breaks and at the weekend and stuff. And so it's like, I literally have to be like, okay, I don't think I can keep this up. So I have to think about, am I going to consolidate? So like, am I going to do like the Series 4 releases that they do during the season? Am I going to do that all in one video? But then how do I address all the things that people want to hear about and stuff? So there's that element. And also I think that's obviously, that's a me problem. But that's my perspective on that. However, the thing that isn't a me problem is, I think that one of the unique selling points of Marvel Snap but certainly was, that every card is impactful, every card is meaningful. It's not like Magic the Gathering, which releases 6-7 sets a year or whatever they do, which are like 250 card sets, which is like the certainly similar in most card games, especially traditional card games. And half the set will be filler, or most of it will be bulk or whatever. With Marvel Snap, each card usually feels like it's doing a specific role, and that's really good. And also, when they're coming out as infrequently as they were, every card gets the spotlight and gets like people playing it and stuff. With this past week, where we just got 4 or 5 cards at once, no single card is getting enough attention. It doesn't give us time to theory craft. Literally, both of us throughout this video have been saying, "Oh, I haven't replayed this card because." Well, partly because we've been playing Moira X non-stop, but you know what I'm saying. So yes, I think they're releasing too many cards, and I would actually prefer that they take this back a little bit to give us all some breathing time.
It's not just the release cadence, right? Because we used to have 1 card per week, and then what they did was they added 1 card plus the season pass card. The season pass card used to stand on its own, and then they added a card to that week as well. And what that did was it made it that people that were just buying the season pass were now no longer able to generate enough resources to remain collection complete. Now you have 2 paid Series 5 cards. You have 1 Series 5 card a week and a plethora of Series 4 cards being released throughout the month, one of which is going to be a Deadpool's Diner card. It's simply too much. I've been giving a lot of thought to this. Because while I've had conversations like, people that listen to the pod would know that, like Dara, for instance, was someone who had said that they like the idea of having more cards. It keeps the meta fresh. And I agree. That is cool. I like the idea of cards that keep the meta fresh. But like what you just said, like I didn't play Awesome Andy. I didn't have time to play Awesome Andy. Like that card just didn't need to come out. It didn't need to be a landmine in the series packs for Omega Sentinel and the other kind of good stuff, right? And the cards this month are actually well designed. Like, I wish more people had the resources to experience Moira X, because if you did, maybe you would not leave Marvel Snap altogether. And that's part of the challenge. I think that one of the things, and I've been really thinking a lot about this. First of all, this has one of the easiest fixes imaginable. And while admittedly I'll say that I'm obviously a content creator, I'm not a monetization expert at Second Dinner or in the game industry, but also I'm just going to say they're kind of screwing it up a little bit. So maybe they should listen to someone who's not a monetization expert. It's too many damn cards. And if you think about one of the major problems of Snap, the major problem is that they've not fixed the collection track since the introduction of it. ever since they made collector's reserves and all that stuff, and they made the tokens, they took the gold out and all that stuff, they've never touched the collection track. And that is something that every single player who plays Marvel Snap engages with on a frequent basis. If you're going to release 11 more cards or whatever, you're going to release 11 cards per season, why aren't you increasing the rate of token acquisition in the collection track? If you're going to change the way the acquisition system works, why aren't you changing the way the players acquire the means to acquire the cards? It doesn't make sense. And so I thought about this. It keeps me up at night. Why does it keep me up at night? Because viewership's down to about 33% of what it used to be, right? And again, that's like an us problem. But it's also a you problem playing the game, because part of my thought, and this is maybe the cynical side, is why are the bots getting so much better? Well, I think one of the things that, this is tinfoil hat stuff here. If they make the bots indistinguishable from players and increase the competitive nature of the bots, therefore players playing will not be able to see their individual matches as an indication of the health of the game. If the old bots were present and you were able to play and you matched against 4 throw bots after another, you'd be able to surmise that there are less people playing Marvel Snap. The matchmaking has to get wider. It's not finding players, so it's feeding you bots. If they make the bots more indistinguishable from individual players, they're able to mask the exodus of players to some degree behind the bots that seem more capable. Again, tinfoil hat. I think that something needs to be done about the collection track. It is a relic of the original Marvel Snap design. It makes no sense that it has remained the way it is today all this time. If you think that releasing more cards is going to benefit the game and benefit the enjoyment factor of the players playing the game, you need to increase the opportunity for players to actually get the damn cards to enjoy it. Because I'll tell you right now, they're not enjoying watching me play cards that they can't acquire. So something needs to be done.
Yeah, I completely agree. As you touched on it a little bit there, but like the viewership of my channel has absolutely plummeted. Like the season pass video analysis videos that I did used to be like one of the more popular ones that I would release each month, but the Viv Vision one was like a quarter of what the normal views are, which is it's a real shame to see, like especially as it's indicative of the player base actually shrinking. But I'm sure you do as well. I get comments from people saying that they have literally left the game because they now can't keep up. For how long were players saying that the main problem in the game was the card acquisition? They came along earlier this year and said, oh, we fixed it, here's snap packs, and like they removed the spotlights and stuff. And yeah, at first it probably did feel better, but now we're at the point where they've literally doubled or more than doubled the number of cards that they're releasing into the game whilst keeping the same system. So it's like with the updated system at least, but it's a system that was built fixing the old problems. And so now we are literally back in possibly even a worse position than we were already in, where people can't keep up, they aren't generating enough resources. And I'm seeing it more and more frequently, even from other content creators who are now saying, oh, well, yeah, I've now run out of tokens, so I'm not getting every card, I'm not getting half the cards and stuff. So yeah, it's not a good situation, and it's just going to push more and more people away. So yeah, it's really frustrating that we're back into the position where it's like, oh, there's problems with stuff like character mastery and like the filters we've wanted to add, like activate and all the other abilities they've added for so long. There's so many things, so many quality of life updates that there could be, and it feels like we're creating more problems than. And we're still not getting the fixes to long-standing problems. So, yeah, it's frustrating.
One of the things I thought about is, why would Second Dinner do this, right? You have the new era of Snap. They're no longer with Newverse. And sometimes you wonder, like, was Newverse keeping the reins on them? Like, was Newverse kind of reining them in a little bit? Like, who knows? But one thing I will say is that if you have a large dead, like even on Twitter, you see stuff, a lot of the developers in Second Dinner are from Magic, right? And they bring a lot of skill. You're seeing a lot of the design in the cards being fantastic, right? However, I don't think, and this is just, again, tinfoil hat on Alex here, one of the goals of Snap for a lot of players is to be collection complete, and it's been a pain point. However, I don't see the same drive for Magic the Gathering players to be collection complete. It's simply not necessarily attainable, even if you buy a bunch of boxes. Doesn't work that way. You'd probably have to buy like 15 boxes to get collection complete and still fill holes in your collection. So I had this thought. What if they thought to fix card acquisition, instead of improving it, if they make being collection complete such a runaway impossible dream that people were to give up on it, that would solve the card acquisition problem, because people would not expect to be collection complete anymore. They would be happy with just getting, I'll just get Moira X this month, even though a bunch of other stuff is being released. I had that thought. I had the thought of, was it a factor that so many people wanted to have access to every card? And if they made it such a runaway impossibility that it was no longer an option and people just gave up on that dream, and it wasn't even a dream anymore, not even a pipe dream. It was just impossible. It wasn't realistic. The way I'm not going to be collection complete in Riftbound. I'm not going to be collection complete in Magic the Gathering. It's just not feasible. I'll buy a commander deck, I'll do that, and I'll play with what I have. I had that thought, so I'd be interested in your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I hadn't thought of that. I mean, they have openly said that they don't. Have they said they don't want people to be collection complete, or they don't want it to be like a necessarily achievable goal? But the fact that you framed it as that, as it's literally impossible and something that they can't even achieve. I hadn't thought of that, and yeah, that's again, it's sort of. The game that Marvel Snap is, the cards all have their own purpose. It's not like you don't have the level of specificity. Sorry, I have to say that word very slowly because otherwise I'll say specificity. You don't have the level of specificity that you do have on Magic the Gathering cards, where it's like, Monkey Warrior of the Clouds. He's a legendary monkey cloud rider. So you don't have that in Marvel Snap. We don't have tribes at all in Marvel Snap. Maybe we would like them, by the way. But yeah, you don't have that level. So the cards, they all do something. They all do something specific. And so that is why people want a full collection. Because when you miss one crucial card from a deck, that is kind of devastating in Snap. When you start like missing a couple, it can block you out from an entire archetype. So, yeah. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you could be onto something.
Yeah, potentially. And it's a win-win, right? People forget about the dream of being collection complete. And also the people that want to really be collection complete, damn, they gonna wail. They're gonna wail, right? And so it's a win-win from that perspective. And I guess the thing I want to leave this topic with was, based on my experience thus far, is people are leaving fast. And something needs to be done before it's too late. Yeah. Because it already feels like it might be too late. And this is a game that I love. And every single person that I engage with is incredibly positive. They love the game. And it's been the monetization of the game, which has been such a repeated pain point. Even at PAX, I had the privilege of meeting so many people, both at the meetup, but even people on the Saturday that couldn't come to the meetup on the Friday because they had Saturday tickets. And I was walking around with decks, and we were at the show floor, and people stopped us. A bunch of people stopped us. The number of people that said, hey, you're the guy from Snap. I used to play that game, but it's way too expensive. Or I fell behind because I took like a month off, and now I just don't know what to do. It's insane. You have an audience of probably millions of people that would love to get back in the game, but it is literally impossible. It's just impossible. And when you pair that with the active turning away of players who currently play the game, you have a recipe for disaster. The writing's on the wall. And that's going to take us to our Snapchat mailbag. And there is quite a few questions based on last week. Now, a lot of them were roasting me for not knowing a bunch of stuff because Cozy gaslit me like 15 times on that pod. Like I can't believe I fall for this crap, man.
Dude, it was brutal.
And Wrestle Ranger comes in and says, Claw and Nebula do not have any kids together. Man, it's not my fault. Rez, you got something? Oh, going to the encyclopedia.
Let's see. I got the right page. No. Yeah, they both have hand stuff. It literally just says they're both into hand stuff. Cool.
And
no children though. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. So I just thought that Claw and Nebula looked identical to what Omega Sentinel did. And Cozy sold it, man. He's like, they have kids together. Chat's going to let us know what their other kids' names are. Like, he sold it so good, straight face. Like, I actually believed him. Yeah. So, Wrestler Ranger, Cozy got me on that one. Hundo P, I accept defeat on that one. Absolute Chad gameplay from Cozy there. Astral Ragtime says, and it's a Bastion comment. So Rez, I'll give you the floor on the answer here. Astral says, Bastion's power isn't just in the power of reducing costs, but just that you can inevitably play those cards again. I can see him getting a lot of play in a huge variety of decks, dropping him on top of a Captain America, a Human Torch First Steps, Venom, Goliath, Morbius, or hell on Swarm to set up an even bigger MODOK or Bullseye. Heck, even a Shang-Chi or Red Guardian to drop again. He's got a lot of spice for sure. It's just a little obscured.
Yep, I completely agree. Like, because literally when I was doing my analysis, I was looking at the cards and I was like, okay, like I normally feature like a handful of synergies, maybe up to like 6 cards that are synergies. With this card, I just couldn't stop. So I think I put like 12 synergy cards, but I was like, and that's just scratching the surface. Yeah, I just think there's so many cards that you would want to do, like Hitmonkey, like in just like a random, like, yes, I appreciate Bastion is a 4-cost card, so you wouldn't necessarily be playing a Hitmonkey and having it get the actual ability trigger off, but then you crucially then have a 2/3 Hitmonkey, which it like also lets you double dip on that. You might be playing a Hitmonkey in a similar deck as Sage. Again, it's just another card that you definitely want a 2/3 of. You're going from 0 power with 3 cost to 2/3. So the double dipping, the king of double dipping.
Yeah, it looks like it has a ton of potential, and that's even discounting the potential for Zabu style decks, where you can get him with 3 costs or something like that, and maybe sneak him into a little tighter lines.
Magic, Iron Man.
Like Magic? Like you want additional limbos?
Yeah, so if you Magic on 3, Iron Man on 5, Bastion on 6.
I thought you meant you wanted to copy Magic. Like you wanted more Magics. Yeah, if you want to, I guess. Yeah.
Limbo's got a limbo.
That's true. I mean, there was a time. There was a time when I was playing. I can't bring it up again. There was a time when I was playing Shinnok Kang decks, and I would actually Legion the limbo to prevent people from getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was incredibly common to Legion other stuff to get rid of it. So going into turn 5 with initiative, I would Legion the limbo, then they would Legion and just re-Legion my limbos, if that makes any sense. Jacob Kelvin comes in with the final question of the day, because it's in reference to Alpha Flight, because Dapper Dave got me that omnibus, which I went to start reading actually a couple nights ago and realized that like it's an actual physical book. This might sound dumb, but like I didn't have an appropriate light at bedside to read it. So Classic. I have to invest. I've been trying to keep an eye at Costco for like bedside table lights and stuff like that, because I only shop at Costco.
Obviously,
it's funny too. Actually, I'll mention I was in a Call of Duty tournament, and they even made reference to me being a Costco fanatic. I'm like, how did Call of Duty know this? Like, it's so literally the Call of Duty announcers shouted out the fact. They're like, because I was like running around in the game. They're like, this guy's running around like he's in the Costco. Alex is a huge fan of Costco. I'm like, how does this guy even know this? Like, this is crazy, right? They did their research, and apparently they typed in my name and Costco came up. So during the week, last week, I had the opportunity to meet Glenn at PAX, and I showed the omnibus that Dapper Dave gave me. And as I joked in the prior week with Cozy, Glenn said, got to release 10 cards a season. Can you name 10 Alpha Flight characters right now? And I was stuck. So Jacob Calvin comes in. Here's the 10 Alpha Flight characters for a season. Number 1, Guardian. Number 2, North Star. Number 3, Aurora. Number 4, Puck. Number 5, Snowbird. Number 6, Shaman. Number 7, Guardian. 8 is Vindicator. 9 is Box. And 10 is Talisman. Now, one thing I'll say, and I don't have a confirmation of this, I'm almost positive, and someone in the comments can let me know. And this is like one of those things, you know, when like Marvel, like you look at some of the older stuff, you're like, come on, bro, this is the best you guys can come up with. Like, they're so inventive today, and the comics are so good, but some of the older stuff like really goes off the rails. I'm almost positive there is an Alpha Flight Canadian superhero called Major Maple Syrup. Do you want to look in your encyclopedia? Pull the encyclopedia out. You want to actually look this guy up?
I mean, there's an index. It would be a shame not to use it. Major Maple Syrup. I'm pretty hot on Marvel knowledge. I've got an encyclopedia, did you know? But I've never heard of Major Maple Syrup. And we got Major Domo, Major Victor. I'm not seeing Major Maple Syrup. I'm sorry.
Did I just invent this in my head? Did I have a dream about this?
You are Canadian. That's all you drink, right? Is that?
Yeah, that's all we drink. We don't have water up here. Actually, that's not true. We eat the snow and it eventually becomes water. But if we can just drink maple syrup, that's fine.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard of it. But I have to say, though, I would be stunned if they weren't already planning like an Alpha Flight season. They must have talked about it. Like it feels like the country stuff. Canada. Great Britain, like the like Captain Britain and the MI13, which is an absolutely awesome series. Like it delves into like gothic horror and stuff. Really cool. Surely they've got to be doing that stuff. Alpha Flight is absolutely huge for them not to be doing.
I mean, Alpha Flight might not be huge though. Like I don't know. Like it's.
Listen, Wolverine is in Alpha Flight. There is no way that they do not want to print another Wolverine.
It's true. Is Deadpool Alpha Flight 2 or no? He is Canadian though, right?
He's Canadian, yeah. I don't think he's been in Alpha Flight, but Wolverine certainly is, and they could do. I don't know what they call him, like maybe Maple Syrup Wolverine.
It's possible. Guys, once again, I want to say thank you so much to Rez for coming here today. As you can see, this dude is an absolute bastion. You see what I did there? Of just love and hilarity. This guy is truly one of a kind. Down below in the comment section, I'm going to have links to his stuff, including the food channel, and I'm going to link the chicken ball video because you got to watch it. Dude, thank you so much for being here. I sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's honestly been an honor. I think I said it when we were off air, but you guys have been such a massive part of my Marvel Snap journey. Like it's very rare that I've had a YouTube video or series that I specifically look forward to every week. That I'm like, oh yes, it's Monday or Tuesday or whenever it comes. I'm like, oh yes, it's coming. It's like it's Snapchat Day. There's literally been a couple of YouTube videos like that, so it kind of almost brings me back to a nostalgic time of waiting for a TV show to come on and stuff. So like one of my mates gets really excited when it's on as well. So yeah, thank you to both of you for everything that you do for the community, and yeah, this has been a true honor. So thank you.
No, well, thank you for joining us this week. And as I said before, guys, all of Rez's info is going to be down below in the pinned comment and in the description. You got to follow him because he's one of a kind. Thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you on the next one.